talking to one another.
We are still talking to one another, but it wouldn't be the same unless Ed Halloran was with us. So here we go.
Just thought I'd check.
What's for dinner, Ed?
What's for dinner, Ed?
Oh, there's
Hey,
Ed.
Chris. Hey, Chris, what's for dinner?
What's for dinner, Chris?
I see Chris Halloran in the background. Hi, Chris.
It's working back there.
Cheers, Chris.
I'm hungry. Is Ed in the
Ed doesn't
doghouse
know what's
again?
for dinner.
No, Ed's in the doghouse.
No, Ed's not in the doghouse. He just doesn't know what's for dinner because Chris is making it.
Yeah, priorities. Perfect.
Doug, be careful. Be careful.
Yeah, really. She's going to
Put him in the doghouse.
Yeah,
I don't have to be careful.
No,
I got wings in the smoker. I'm fine.
I'm new here. I don't know.
Are you gonna get Smart Pop?
Ooh.
Oh, Smart Pop. High quality food right there.
Actually, the dog is eating it, sitting next to me.
Where's the dog?
The dog
Aww.
Oh, there's the dog.
There's the
eating the
Aw.
popcorn.
Oh
Are
my
you shy?
God.
Well, okay, Tracy. I see your dog. And I raise you a dog.
Wait, I got another one, but it's outside.
Yeah, ours are
I
outside.
can keep going all day.
Oh my God.
Doug, are you gonna bring in a horse?
I could.
Please.
Janine would get mad at me though. I'm not going to do that.
I know. And I think, so we can get out more, we'll teach everybody next week how to do virtual backgrounds. So it doesn't have to be so stuffy as Rotary. We can be in like Paris, or we could be in London, or we could be in Australia. We'll just get everybody on backgrounds behind them next week.
In our virtual reality.
Virtual reality. We'll have virtual reality backgrounds next week, and everybody can look, like we're traveling, even though there's no way we can.
Hey, Gwen, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
If I want to meet with my committee,
Mm-hmm.
do I use this? How does that happen?
Well,
How do you do that?
we have, and there's Janice. That's actually a great question in this 2 minutes before we start things up. Hey, Miss Janice.
Hi.
So we're talking to you today, and as you notice when I talk, it says Rotary Club of Woodby Westside. This is the official club Zoom stream. Okay, so somebody else is coming in.
Ron Keller.
Ooh.
His background. Wow.
So I believe yes, but that has to go through John and all of us as the board. It has a sign in. I think it would be an excellent way for all of us to, in our different committees, to meet. You just can't all meet at the same time. So if you've started a meeting, we can't have another call using our same ID going on at the same time.
It's like an old Rotary phone line. It's like,
Right.
it's like an open line.
Correct.
So that number is always the same. But Gwen, I think there is a way in your settings to assign other hosts.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Jane could host a meeting from her computer.
Correct.
Okay.
We just have to schedule it. So like if someone like logged on and they're all of a sudden they're in a meeting that they weren't invited to, there's, they just jump off or.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Yeah, exactly.
know?
So what we'll do, Jane, is we'll do something to the effect of you would like to have a scholarship meeting next Tuesday at 5. And then I would make you a host, and then you would go ahead and invite those people to that Zoom call on this, because this is pro, which means you can do a little bit more to it, and we can record it and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Sounds great.
All right,
Yeah, look
Mr.
at
John,
Doug.
I'll be
Now he's
quiet.
on the moon.
There's another dog.
So we have pro. Good stuff.
Another one. Wait.
We don't.
All right, so we've got Nick and Teller. Nick and Teller, they're a great comedy team.
They do magic too.
They do magic. They're awesome.
Oh, he's so cute.
And Janice has joined us as well. So so Nick and Teller. Oh my God, Doug, you are so awesome.
Stop it with
Okay.
the Nick and Teller. Come on.
Like it. You and Nick can take it on the road, man. Ron, do you want to just be on voice, or do you want your video shown, sir?
I don't think I'm at work, so I don't think this computer has the video.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, honey, just the whole idea that you're on this is beautiful. So, John, I will pass it over to you, and I'll just make sure all the participants get on and can be.
Alexa,
Okay.
stop timer.
All right. First of all, welcome everyone. I'm gonna go right to Ron. Ron, how are you doing on time, my friend?
I am okay as soon as I get interrupted.
Okay.
So right now I'm okay.
Okay.
It's the way, it's the way it is. We've been here since 6:30 in the morning, and it's just cracking like crazy.
Okay.
Well, would you like to hang in, or should we go directly to you right now?
No, you guys go through your process.
Okay.
I will tell you if I have to leave.
Okay. And hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Bueller. You can't see it, but I have a beer here.
Oh!
Oh, that's just mean.
Ron,
That's
this is your beer. This is your beer.
That's mean.
Oh.
It's half done. Yeah.
Okay.
So mean.
All right. 1 second. So,
Ron, there's more where that comes from.
all right. So, John,
Okay, so,
John, just keeping things going. I've got Kathy or Jim that's raising their hand. So, what do you need there, guys?
Me, has a meeting been called?
No,
Or-
it's not. That's why I'm.
right now.
That's why I'm
I-
yelling at our current president to keep himself on schedule.
We're gonna.
God,
go
I feel like such a
we're gonna-
producer here.
We're gonna start now. I just wanted to check with Ron, just to jump it if we needed to. Everybody
All
ready?
right. Yep. Let's go.
Oh, George is with Marion.
Oh,
Hi, Marion.
Hey, welcome.
I'm so glad to see you.
oh.
All right. Can everyone
I can
see?
join you all. I wish I could join you all, but George is holding the dinghy hopper.
You are joining us.
I'm
I'm so glad to see you.
Thanks, dear.
You're
Okay.
in the same boat that we all are, Marion.
We're all social isolating.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Ring the bell, Mr. John. It's all in your hands.
Okay, we're fully ordered. You everybody ready? Everybody quiet?
There you go.
Together. Thank you for your patience. As we kick off our second in the clouds, Rotary Club of Whidbey West Side. Welcome everyone. We're in a different world here, and we are broadcasting privately live here via Zoom. And everybody, welcome so much. I really appreciate everybody's patient and great spirit through all of this. The world has changed, let alone in the last week, and we'll see some of that in terms of our club activity, which is just beyond awesome, let alone in the last couple of weeks. And Ron has experienced it firsthand, and our club is actually here and other clubs on Whidbey Island to assist him, as well as with our AG Bruce, who's online, and Brad, and we'll cover that soon here. This is all came along real unexpectedly, but our true service above self has really kicked in. And even though we're more than 6 feet apart, our spirits are like tight, and really glad that's the case. We've gone through a lot since July 1st of this year, and our club is growing in spirit, in head count, and just all across the board. So let's look at the agenda here. We had our happy half hour, and let's walk into the Pledge of Allegiance.
There you go.
So join us all, and I'll lead off. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
One
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
Indivisible.
liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you. And we will do the four-way test here. Let's see, Jim, can you see that? Can you?
I can.
Could you lead us, please?
Yes. The four-way test of the things that we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build
Will it
goodwill
build
and better
goodwill?
friendship?
Will it
be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you very much. And I think we need to have, hey, Ron, are you okay on time right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have some time.
Okay, just checking in, and you're a very key focus here, my friend. Your beer is great, by the way. So, okay, let's go into let's go into happy thoughts. Alrighty, are there any happy thoughts here? TY.
I don't know what happened to y'all. What screen am I?
All right, you shouldn't see a whole bunch of us. You should actually see happy thoughts on the screen. You should see. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah,
Okay.
actually, as I was saying earlier, my happy thoughts are that my brother and myself and a Eagles member all went to the Goose last weekend and purchased each a cartload of food, pork, eggs, etc., and distributed them to families in need. It was really rewarding.
That's cool.
Who next? I'm in.
Anybody else?
Hey, I got a happy thought.
Shocking.
Am I on now?
Yes, you are.
You're there, Gordy.
Okay. You may not have noticed, but I was over off the side interloping on the board meeting today.
Uh-oh.
And my happy thought is, even more than I had imagined, we have an outstanding board leading us as a club. It was a great meeting. A lot of things were accomplished, and I'm impressed by every one of you serving on the board. So that's my happy thought, number one. Number two, in case you're interested, I have an update on the squirrel family that lives in our yard from our last meeting. And Sharon mentioned to me that I forgot to let them know, everybody know their names, but as it turns out, we've got 6, and I only thought we had 4.
Whoa.
But there are 2 new ones there, and we've named them Dougie and Gwenny.
Oh.
Oh, that's because they're squirrely.
Oh, yeah, there's Johnny and Jimmy, Janie, and
Oh my God.
No, that Dougie though must be a real jerk.
I am just happy to be able to see everybody.
Yeah.
We've all been closed up. It's so nice to see all of these faces that we haven't been able to see at all. So I'm really thankful for this. Thank you, Gwen and Celia and Jim and John and whoever put this all together. That's really great.
Yeah.
This is George and Marion, and I can say from both of us, we're just really happy to be here and seeing everybody as well. And I know it's particularly great because this is a way that my mom can join in and not have to worry about getting out of the house and stuff like that. So really excited for that. Mom, did you want to say anything?
Oh, yes, I wish all of our meetings here or at the telephone company could be such fun. Amen.
Yeah.
Glad to see you all. And what a neat way of joining the group of you. And I'm grateful for this. Thank you, George, and thank you all.
Well, Marion, I think it's going to be this way for a while, so you're going to get to go to a lot of meetings.
That's right.
Jane's got the right idea. Jane, I think I'm going to have to find that bottle of wine. Oh, well done, well done.
Oh.
And
So,
Marion, I've been texting you, but it's so much nicer to see your face. And George, thank you for bringing Marion to the meeting.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, thank you.
I have a happy thought for Gordy.
Sure.
Gordy, the week of May 11th, the day after Mother's Day, guess what I'm going to get in the mail?
What?
A chicken.
Chicken.
A mail order chicken.
Chicken? Just
Baby
one?
6 baby chicks.
Okay, six.
Oh,
Oh, I want chickens.
They're Buff Orpingtons, so they're all gonna have
I love those.
a Buffy name.
I love those chickens.
Buffy, the vampire. I don't know. They're all gonna have Buffy names.
You
Oh,
know,
great chicken, Kathy.
That's a great memory too. Usually my dad was on a medical meeting and all of a sudden the truck driver would bring a big carton and it would be full of these baby chicks, but it was always raining. And so we had to turn on the oven, not to cook the chicks. So we all sat around there trying to warm the poor beasties up and wishing Dad hadn't stayed away so long.
Oh, that's funny.
oh my
But
God.
anyway, so all of this is great memory jogs for me. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So I have an interesting thought for everybody. So last week we proceeded to give most of our freezer away, stuff in our freezer away to various people in need. Hairdresser, dog sitter, you name it, you know, stuff, big bags of stuff went out the house. So I thought, how do I fill that up again? Well, we went to Glendale Shepherd. We went to Three Sisters. By the way, they're all open.
Yep.
We went to another farm that was a big farm. And guess what? They're all hurting.
Yeah.
And people aren't realizing that the purveyors that are the small farms that sell out of their properties all have inventory. Glendale Shepherd is in particularly big need because cheese has shelf cheese. So when I picked up when David picked up the cheese and the lamb on Saturday, we had bought, I don't know, 3 or 4 pieces as part of it. And it was because they were running out of room. So
Wow.
just a little hint that we have a whole group of purveyors on this island that aren't getting the attention that the restaurants are getting. And I'm just thinking we should make a list of all of the other retail food providers that are open that people don't even know are open.
Great idea.
That's a great idea.
Great idea.
If I could pop in just a second, Janice, if you go, the last bulletin had an updated list from the Slow Food Consortium here on the island.
Yeah.
And the last part of that was not only was it restaurants, but once you got to the bottom, it also included the farmers markets and the Three Sisters and the cheese people. So, and that's getting updated weekly. So I'm happy to send that out to you again personally, so you can.
No, I dug around and I found it. That's how.
Oh, good, good.
Getting to there, but it's not well promoted, and that's
no, it's not.
So I would just add that you need to look at all small business on the island. And, you know, it's not just the food-based organizations.
Right, but a lot of them are shut down. These guys aren't shut down, but not getting business, right?
No, and I think that the ones that are shut down are the ones we need to worry about the most.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Yeah, there's a whole.
I mean, I look at
SBA support and economic development that we need to look at for those businesses.
Well, yeah, and some of them it's not available for. I mean, I look at Tracy with an eye, and and my fiance who both work in the beauty industry, and it's a difficult thing. Yeah. You know, they're basically mandated to shut down. They can't do anything.
Yeah.
They're trying to, you know, sell product online if they can, but it's tough. these are extraordinary circumstances and extraordinary things are happening, and we need to make sure that we understand that.
Yeah. Actually, I was reading a bunch of the documents from the government, and there's actually unemployment. There's actually loans for all of those businesses that people don't realize.
Yeah, we
Right.
realize it, but it's going to put us back into debt.
I know. I understand. The unemployment won't.
Okay.
Yeah, and the unemployment, I know we've been looking at it, and
Yeah.
it's not there yet. It's like 3 weeks out before
Yeah.
you can even get it.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
and that's because they're business owners. Like Tracy's a business owner. She's not eligible for unemployment. Janine's a business owner. She's not
Right.
eligible for
Right.
unemployment.
It's the employees.
These are other problems that are, and I get it.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, these are first world problems to have.
Well, no,
but they still are first world
they're really
problems.
yeah.
So can I say something about the business loans? If you go
Okay.
ahead and you apply, there's a fast track on SBA or your local bank. And if you have employees or you take a loan, if you pay your employees, your loan will be forgiven as long as the money goes towards paying payroll, just FYI. So it's not a loan you have to pay back if you follow their direction.
Yeah, no, we get that. These are sole proprietorships is basically what they are.
No employees.
Right.
With no employees.
Oh, yeah.
In the new SBA application process that came out today, sole proprietors like Tracy and Janine, I believe, can file for a business loan. And there's a kind of provision for an instant 10 grand. So you might want to take a look at that site again, sba.gov.
Yeah, I've been denied for everything.
Changed today.
And it was not, it said sole proprietor, but they were looking for an employee identification number. And, how am I going to take out a loan that I have to pay back $10,000 or whatever? I mean, I have no income for 7 weeks.
Okay.
So how would I'm going to be behind on everything else. How am I going to pay a loan?
Yeah, I would urge you to take a look at the site because the language about forgiveness of the loans, especially that initial $10,000, I think it might be useful.
Nick, what was the message on the first 10 grand?
Message on the first 10 grand is you apply for the economic injury emergency loan. Sorry, I didn't remember all the acronym.
Sure.
And in part of that process, you get to indicate your interest in having an immediate infusion of $10,000 into your business. Doesn't really have much in the way of limitations, and it's very clear that they forgive it.
Okay, because I know one that's right on the edge. What was the website again? I'm sorry.
It's on the SBA site, sba.gov.
Okay.
I have a really, really good summary of all of the pieces of this that lay it out that I will send around to everybody. That's the best I've seen.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you very much, Janice. If you could do that, and Nick, anything you have too. What I'd like to do, thank you very much. I know there's more happy thoughts and we're all very thankful. I know I am, and I know we all are from our hearts and to each other and our families. I'd like to scoot it along and actually pick up Ron. I'm trying to figure out, okay, hold on here. Please.
So are we done with happy thoughts then?
Yeah, we are. I'm going to go, yes, thank you. I'm going to go to Ron. Ron, if you could, are you there? I want to move on to Ron. I don't want to lose the opportunity here with him. Ron?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm here.
There he is.
Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you. I know we're jumping around, but I don't want to lose you, my friend. And your beer is actually pretty good, but you know where there's more coming from. So appreciate you, Ron. God bless you and your staff and all that you're doing. And we mean that as from our hearts to you. Okay.
Appreciate that.
You bet, my friend. Take it from here.
So I'm not too sure what you want. Is this? Let me ask you a question. Is this going to be put on the Facebook or anything like that?
Hi, John. I'll pop in there. We are not, this is being recorded, yes. And it's up to you how much of this you would like to get out.
Okay, all right. So where we are right now is we're still in what we figure is still in the increasing of volume of COVID patients and COVID testing, and we're on the rise. We've kind of been working with UW and seeing where they're at, since they hit it a little bit earlier than us. They're anticipating their peak, their crest of the wave, to be around April 18th, April 19th. We think we're about a week behind them, so we're looking more towards April 30th is probably when we're going to crest, which is still a bit scary, since the fact that we have right now 4 patients with COVID-19 on ventilators. And usually what's going on here is that the more aged folks or those who have respiratory illness already, they crash very quickly. For example, one of our patients came in, had the typical upper respiratory fever, elderly, about in the 80s. He was in his 80s, and clear lungs, just typical upper respiratory. Within 24 hours, he was on a vent. It happens that fast. This is it affects the upper respiratory incredibly, and then it starts really causing problems with other organs. You'll see septism, you'll see heart failures. So it's a very, very quickly, if you're going to get it, you're going to get it quick. The problem with the ventilators, and there's, as you know, and you hear in whether you watch all the news, is there's not enough ventilators in the United States. Typically, when a patient goes on a ventilator, they're on it for 3 or 4 days, and you wean them off very quickly. What's happening with this virus, you're on a ventilator for no less than 7 days. Typically, it's between 10 and 14 days, and that's the angst, is that these patients who are on ventilators are going to be on there for some time. We have a total of 7 ventilators. We've just adjusted some of our other ventilators that we do transportation to be able to work with inpatients. So now we have 14. We have a request out for 10 more from our government. And so it is a challenge. What you thank me, but really the thanks goes to these nurses, these technicians, these doctors, these registration folks, the housekeepers who are going into these rooms and putting themselves at risk. They truly are. It's airborne, even though we try to keep it clean. We're changing most or as many rooms as we can to negative air pressure, meaning that the air is being sucked out of the room instead of going back into the hallways. And that's a very expensive process we're taking on. But it is, we're trying to minimize the risk to our staff and to our visitors, the little visitors we do have. It is a very highly contagious. If any of you have ever witnessed putting in an event, there's a lot of exhale, a lot of air coming from the body going out. That's why we need all this PPEs, personal protective devices, because our employees are at risk. And that's what you hear all the time. There's not enough masks. There's not enough gowns. Right now, we have just ordered 45,000 masks, should arrive sometime this week, at an amazing 600% markup. We're being gouged, almost unheard of. Gowns, we have about 9 days left of gowns. And when you have a COVID patient, you're constantly changing your gowns. We went from a usage of maybe pre-COVID 50 to 100 gallons a day. We're at 450 gallons a day. It is, and you can't find them. We are going into what they consider the black market, getting gowns from China. We just ordered 15,000 gowns because we have to protect our employees. It is kind of nasty out there. The good news is we have a hotline staffed by 3 nurses. certain between, I think, 9:30 and, or 10 to 5. And we're getting at least, let's see how many calls we're averaging, about 100 calls a day. And it's triaging them to see if you can be tested, if you have upper respiratory, you have a fever, and you're in the high risk areas. We're testing, we had been testing about 20 a day. Today we tested over 50. That's how scary, that's how it's jumping up. So it's scary on all sides. Scary in the fact that this hospital has shut down a lot of service lines, as you probably read. We don't do any more elective surgeries. We're closing our clinics except for one, and that's up in Cabot. We are still trying to keep our community healthy by doing telemedicine. So you call the clinic, not available, they'll set you up with a telemedicine. So you can talk to your doctor. We've shut down all physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. Our volumes in our ED has completely dropped because people don't want to come in unless they really need to, which is okay. I mean, but that's what's happening. But with that, you now have 70% of our business was outpatient, and it's kind of cut in half. So you've lost a lot of revenue. At the same time, we're spending a lot of resources. We have the tents going up for swab testing. We've had to implement all these purchasing of PPEs at a real high rate. About $100,000 of changing our air pressures to make them negative. We're spending close to $100,000 a week on wages just on COVID, whether it's preparation or taking care of these patients. So it's trying times. I am impressed with the legislative we do have. Before this call, Congressman Larson called me. He has called me like several times during the last 4 or 5 days. Senator Murray, Senator Cantwell continually call and check on how we're doing. Your Island Commissioner, Jill St. Clair and Norma Smith have constantly been in contact with me, seeing what else they can do, how they can help. It is a community that's coming together for one purpose, and that's to fight this disease. So the thing is that really does flatten that curve is like we're all doing right now, what you're all doing right now. Stay home, stay safe, minimize your contact with others, truly stay 6 feet away. And so this is what we're practicing here at the hospital. Our meetings are all like this, Zoom, conference calls. It is a lot of, and Nick is highly involved with this, with us, since, he's our voice to our community. But it is a challenge, and this is probably the biggest challenge this hospital in this country's ever had. So, but, there is an end to this. Sooner or later, there is an end to this. Any questions I could answer?
Ron, are you able to get any help from the Navy, from the base?
Captain Kuchik is their chief medical officer, and he is in constant contact with me. He's actually one of the most amazing physicians. He's triple board certified, which is unheard of. And he is actually an anesthesiologist and a critical care physician, and he is volunteering his time here. Probably, and I don't know if I want to put this out because he probably would get in trouble. So they can't volunteer.
Wow.
But he has been in our hospital. How's that?
Wow.
Captain Arnie is the chief of the base and is in contact. You have to go through the process. It's just a crazy process of us requesting. They have 3 ventilators. They have a lot of staff, nurses, physicians. But you got to go through the process of requesting to the Island County. Island County sets it up to the state. The state sets it up to the federal, saying there's nothing you can do for us. It gets turned down through the stages, comes back to the county, says, oh, they turned you down. And so they will look for anything close by. The Navy's close by. So hopefully we'll get it that way. And they will give us the ventilators and the help that we need.
Hey, Ron, this is Bruce Center. There's other pieces of PPE that are used other than masks and stuff. What about booties and gloves
And hats.
and hats, nets and stuff?
You know, gloves probably are in need. Booties, not so much. We really, you know, the protection is really on the skin and in the intake of air. So those are the most important ways that you're going to contact this disease. And that's why those are so hard to find. The gloves, we are getting wonderful donations from this community. We have 3 boxes out in front of our entrance, and they're being filled constantly with gloves, homemade masks, and the homemade masks are going over our N95s, so we could get rid of the homemade mask and continue to use the N95, so we could continue to use it all day. So that's how we're prolonging the use of N95s, is with the community's homemade mask. You know, so those are the 2 major PPEs that contribute to our protection.
Whoa.
Thank you, Ron, for all you and your staff are doing. We're infinitely grateful.
Oh, thanks, Molly. But, you know, again, my job here is to get funding for this place. My job here is to keep our legislative and our community aware of what's happening. And I'm amazingly impressed with these employees of ours are putting themselves at risk and their families at risk. And they're continually to show up every day and passionately and empathetically give great care. And it is amazing to see.
Ron, I've got a question.
Sure.
Larry here. Where can we give blood?
The blood donations have been coming around, and you would have to call the Northwest Blood Center, but they have been in Coopville, they have been in Oak Harbor last week. I'm not too sure where else they've been, but they will come around.
You can find a donation site at bloodworks.org.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Ron, can I have one additional question? Right next door to you is Carriage, a wonderful organization. They looked after my mother for over 5 years. It's shocking what's happening there. Is there anything that we can do? We can't really go there or anything. Do you know what we can do to help them, because they're hurting?
That is a really sad situation. The residents I think it's public, they have 42 residents there that have COVID-19. They have about 20 staff members who are now quarantined or do have COVID-19. We have tried to work with them in sending some of our CNAs, and we don't use that. Hospitals don't have that many CNAs anymore. You know, they too will need PPEs. Our CNO, our Chief Nursing Officer, is daily in contact with Dr. Hayes, their medical director, and Sean, I forget his last name, the executive there, just seeing what else we can do. And Nick may know this, I'm not too sure if we're going to have them on our Facebook Live or not, but at some point, they're going to reach out themselves to the community for help. But they're in a bad situation. We want them to take care of their own, because those 42 patients can overwhelm our health system. And so that it is a hard, and that's the things that keep me up at night, is you have a limitation, yet that could overrun our limitations quite quickly, and then what? Our decisions have to be made. And luckily that we've been working with Providence, we've been working with Peace Health, we've been in daily contact with these individuals, and Providence, for their part, Kim Williams, their CEO, has taken at least 2 of our COVID-19 patients. this is a regional, and we've been. What's gotten the amazing is us working together with all these regional hospitals and do what's right for our communities. So that is the positive. Carriage scares us, no doubt.
Hey, Ron, this is Jane. I got your email. Thank you for that. In your email, you talked about us maybe sending happy thoughts to some of the staff and that type thing. How do we do that?
Easy. You know what? I would suggest you write a letter. I personally hand these letters out to the staff. I've gotten many from for our emergency departments. The Coopville Elementary School had a big poster made, and we distributed to the people at the tent. We just hand it to them, and it really does brighten their day because they feel like finally they're getting recognition. That you think they'd always get recognition, but not always. They're the heroes behind the curtain. So whatever you can do to show your thankfulness, it'll be heartfelt.
Great,
Ron. So if we do an email type thing, is there an email address that we could send this to, or how do we connect?
Nick, do we have one for that? Oh, Nick.
Sorry, Ron, I was the on mute guy for juggling a few things here. So, one of the things that I would suggest is make those comments on Facebook. First of all, let me pitch you and say the best way to follow the hospital right now is to like and follow us on facebook.com/woodbehealth. The comments from the community are seen by most of the staff. And I think that that's probably one of the very best ways to broadcast it. You can also contact the hospital by email, and I will send that email out to the group. There's a group email that goes to the community relations folks, and then we can share that around. Internal staff gets an update every day by email, and the hospital has a number of other communication channels that have proven to be very true. And at the worst case, what you could do is just mail it to me, and I will make sure it gets around. But I do agree with Ron, that paper pen thing, that works pretty well.
Yeah, but I would echo what Nick says. Our staff constantly looks at the Whidbey Health website, Facebook, and they look for those positive comments, and they get hurt, seriously hurt when there's negative comments. They take it personally. And so to offset that with some positive remarks, I think it melts their heart, seriously. And I cannot say enough about those negative comments, just really do hurt them. And they take it hard. So if you could do more positive responses, that'd be great.
Hey, Ron, is there any way they can accept food, like from commercial food places, like maybe a dozen donuts or a couple dozen donuts or something like that?
Food is typically not typically. I shouldn't say never. We have patients who had before come in. We really are trying to restrict a lot of visitors, a lot of people coming to the medical center just because of the COVID-19. And I would suspect that it'd be a nice gesture, but it would, I would have a hard time bringing those in, to be honest.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Good. Anything else?